Hey everybody, this is Sandra with the Green Thumb Sisters again. Today we're going to talk about canning jars. Um, Jars are what you're going to use to can your food products. Instead of using, most people think of it as regular cans that you get in the store. No, we use glass jars. They come in different sizes. I have several different sizes here. The smallest one that I have is the 8-ounce jar. It does come smaller than that. It also comes in a 4-ounce. And then we also have the 16-ounce, which is the paint. Now this is a ball jar. We also have the curd jar. And each one, both of these jars, even though they're both paints, they're a little bit different. Specifically, one looks a little bit taller, one looks a little bit wider, and then you have a wide mouth and a regular mouth. I also have the same in the paint size jars. This is ball, this is curd. Wide mouth, regular mouth. Okay. And also we have the half-gallon jar. Now this is a regular mouth. Now typically you don't really can too much in the large jars like this. Most of these are for things like making extract or storage and other things. So there are really basically 4 different types of jars. You have the mason jars and the curd jars, which are before you. And you also have Bernardin jars, which they're a Canadian brand jar, but they are produced here in the United States. From my understanding, they're a little bit more pricey, so I kind of stay away from those. And then there are jars called wick jars. Those are German made, well, made in Germany originally. And those jars, they can be pretty pricey. Although they're pretty to look at, we choose to go the more economical way and stick with either Kerr or Mason. Now talk about lids. Each jar has both a lid and a ring to it. When you first get your jars, or before you even use a jar, you should always inspect your jar as well as your lid and your ring. Each jar, you should be looking for cracks and chips of the glass. If you see any crack or chip on this glass, do not use it, discard it, or you find another purpose for it other than canning. You want to make sure you take your finger and go around the ring, and you want to check and see if you feel any chips. Once again, if you do, you cannot use that for canning because you need to get a good seal with the lid. And speaking of the lid, you want to make sure the lid is not warped. It should be straight. And I really don't know what they call this glue inside of it, but anyway, it should be intact. None of it should be missing because this helps you to get adherence when you're canning your food. And then the ring, you can reuse the ring, but you're not supposed to reuse the lid, okay, when you reuse your can. But the rings are really just there to make sure the lid gets securely put in place. But for the rings, if it shows any signs of warping or any signs of rust, you want to discard these two. Okay. Now there's also a different type of lid out there. They're called Tattler lids. A lot of people think they're new. They're really not new. They really got started in 1976, but I guess by today's standard, it's new to everybody else. Those are supposed to be reusable lids. I haven't had any experience of using those mainly because they're kind of pricey. I've heard some people like them. Some people really don't care too much for them. Now, as far as price ranges, in my experience, I've seen anywhere from $6.50 a case normally up to about $15 a case. Now, let me tell you something about the price, especially since COVID has gotten started. Be leery of your price, especially if you're buying online. It may say $10 for a case, but you need to check on how much they're charging you for shipping and handling. Because I've seen shipping and handling as much as $100-something just for a product that only costs $10, and that's ridiculous. So for me personally, if I'm gonna pay for shipping and handling, I'm only gonna pay maybe $2 or $3 on something that costs $10. So be leery of that, okay? Usually when you shop in the stores to get it, you don't have, of course, you don't have to worry about the shipping and handling because you're the shipping and handling. But still, sometimes you need to check the prices. Sometimes the prices will be $10 in one spot, and it may be $15, $20 in another spot. So, like I said, be mindful of that. Now, what me and my sister like to do is when we're out shopping every 2 weeks or every week or whatever, we try to always go and check and see what they got in the candy now, see if we see any jars. To keep it more economical for us, we like to buy a little bit at a time. As you see, we have a stack of jars over here. Really, it looks like a lot, but it's really not a lot. But we're getting there, okay? The uses for these jars, like I said, for the bigger ones, normally they just use it for just storing certain things. Like I said, you can also use it for making extracts or pickling or fermenting things. So if you look on the bottom of the jar, especially this is the ball box, it gives you some of the things that you can in these glass jars. And we have tomatoes, pickles, salsa, jelly, pie filling, jam, fruit, chutney. Also have green beans, carrots, beets, meat, fish, and poultry. And this is not all inclusive either, because I don't even see potatoes on here. And I know you can can potatoes, okay? Which we will be doing that as well. Now, I prefer to get or use jars that we have purchased ourselves, that we know the history of the jar. I've seen people online talk about using old jars or jars that someone has given to them. I would say be leery of that. The reason being is when you look through the ball book of canning, well, pretty much any of them will tell you, if you ever have any food spoilage, you need to make sure that you get rid of the jar, the lid, the band, everything. You need to get rid of that. So if you know you need to get rid of that, why would you go buy somebody else's jar and you don't know the history of it? So that's all I'm saying is be cautious out there, because we want our families to be safe. And really, if you go through the processes and follow all the rules, there's no reason why this won't be a safe process for you and your family. And anyway, so that's my little tutorial on canning jars. And the next time we're going to talk a little bit more about some extra supplies you need, which is really not a whole lot of stuff. I know it may seem like a little bit, but it's really not. But this is the part 2 of 3. So next time it will be the third part. And that's it. See y'all next time. Bye.